Because we do have the picks and bans ready, able to have the Nemesis and the Cucullin, which kind of ran that jungle for them on that right-hand side and gave Sibi a hard time.
It did, and I think just going for superior wave clear gods would be the best call here for Burrito. Obviously, you've got to factor in what's available in terms of picks and bans, because that doesn't mean give up all the strong stuff to the opposition, but most of the strong stuff is stuff that is good at the early game anyway, and getting you off to a good start.
Cucullin's the first ban for Burrito, who are going to be first pick this time. Artio banned out for Obey. They don't want to see that in their games, and I don't blame them, so Artio's taken care of for them. What do you think it should be the focus for? What role in particular for Burrito in this game, just based on what we saw last game?
If you're going to want to put Dzoni on something like the Assassin, because he does feel like the real carry of this team, and obviously that's why they keep giving the Ao Kuang.
Yeah.
If you want to keep going this Ao Kuang route, you've got to give themselves strength elsewhere. The Fafnir, for example, in terms of pick, not the strongest in terms of wave clear, honestly.
Yeah.
Should have probably looked for something a little bit better than support role to help out. I think the rest of the picks were okay. Taking the Erlang Shen, though, that's going to be helpful.
Erlang Shen is going to be the pick for Burrito. They also ban out Raijin, which leaves Skadi available, and Obey are happy to pick that one up. Skadi can be such a terror. We saw the Ice Rink, the Permafrost Farmer have a big impact in that last game. As Osiris also coming in, and good point, Camazotz is still available.
And it's one of those assassins that you could see running the jungle for the likes of Dzoni. It's an assassin at the end of the day. It's a good one, just like Ao Kuang is, even though he's a mage. But put that in the jungle would be a lot more impactful for them. They're not going to go with it, though, surprisingly enough.
They don't prioritize it, instead choosing to get Thoth, give him a lot of big damage coming out of that mid lane for FaraKrik, who, well, I mean, he was playing that well for them. I don't think that he was anything to do with what went wrong, but Janus selected for Obey, a god we don't see a lot of nowadays.
No, not really, because a lot of people realize Janus is hard to confirm damage on. It sounds stupid, but obviously on Stable Vortex, it has a bit of a travel time. It also needs to connect, and if you only hit one side, it's not as much as two. And the biggest thing that he brings is the through space and time the portals. It doesn't mean he's bad at all, because those portals are so impactful in the fights.
He doesn't give you what you typically want from a mid laner, I think is probably what
it is.
He is a little too much utility, and you're going to be missing that big mage burst damage later on in the fights. Hell and Camazotz are the bans for Burrito, so Camazotz won't be available for the jungle, as Obey takes Sobek, likely for EmilZy.
Well, I was thinking it might be a double warrior comp from Burrito if they're going to ban away the assassin like Camazotz. Or with this comp, they could still use an Ao Kuang if they wanted to. They'll go with Susano, okay. So they've got a nice little front line with Athena and Erlang Shen. Apologies, my voice is like...
Well, hey, we casted a long game earlier. No problem, Hindi Man. I understand it. But Athena and Erlang Shen give them the double taunt for Burrito, so that's a lot of beads burners they have.
Oh, but the Odin.
Odin, though, the cage, and they recognize there's really not any leaps coming out from the side of Burrito. So this last pick, Odin, was a strong pick for Obey. They'll have him locked in.
And the funny thing about that Odin pick as well is everyone's going to be like, Odin's dead now. Rip Odin, because he did get nerfed. But Odin's still going to do exactly what he says in the tin. Early game bird bombs that are going to take half your health. And then on top of that, the ring that's going to keep you all caged inside unless you look at getting some phantoms. And talking about phantoms, we get one off the bat.
That's the right call for Burrito as well, just to worry about that cage. Because as you said, CaptainTwig on this Odin is going to do the main thing that Odin does, even if he falls behind, which is put up a cage. So that's something he'll always be able to provide in terms of utility. Obey Alliance got a bit of a grouping over on this dual lane side by the Oracles, just hanging out a little bit. They put that ward down to be able to spot out where the dual lane of Burrito will be.
Yeah, it's more to do with where the start's going to be. You can see it's right by the red buff, so it's like, what is Jing doing? Is Kespainify going to be starting the red buff on his own? Is he going to have Athena join in too? What is going on there? And also, because of the position of that ward, you can see, is he going to be going for the purple buff, or is he going to look to try and invade, potentially, and steal away the purple if Ataraxia tried to do both his camps on his own?
And they haven't necessarily committed. Now we're starting to see them move over. They are going to have what's become, at this point, we almost got to call it standard, where the AD carries are going to be alone, and we can't even call it the dual lane anymore, and then our supports are hanging out in the mid lane. FaraKrik already taking good poke here from EmilZy, just focusing on farming while EmilZy's focusing on damage.
But the wave clear advantage is going to go slightly in favor of Burrito here, just because they got the poke on earlier on. But FaraKrik was forced back a little bit earlier than he wanted to here. So because of that, it just means that Obey end up winning out. They should have cleared the wave quicker, Burrito, there, but it didn't work out in their favor. And now speed buff invaders potential. But look where Sibi and Dzoni are. They're fighting, they're boxing. But it's against double warriors. You don't want to be those boys.
Once again, the pressure from Xaliea and CaptainTwig on this solo side is a little bit too much for Burrito to handle. And you make a good point in that mid lane. Not only do they not win the push battle, but the actual the poke trade goes in favor of Obey as well. So all around a loss from in mid lane.
But the good news is they didn't lose their speed buff there because of the engagement on the right where everybody on Burrito actually lived. it put off Obey in the mid and the support role on actually looking to go aggressive on the speed buff. So instead, speed buff saved to a Burrito. Although I've not seen it picked up yet, surprisingly enough. Is Johnny going to get round to it in time? Not sure. Yes, just in time, I guess. It's a little bit worried he might miss the actual pick with the buff there, which is so beneficial to someone like Susano.
Burrito hanging around as Obey Alliance go ahead and clear up their own speed about this time, but they don't choose to go for any kind of invade. Right now, it looks like they're instead going to come out towards those back harpies as they did finally get the lane pushed up in mid lane. But again, it's Johnny and Sibi who are pushing up on Obey.
But this is good stuff from Burrito now. Like I said, go for the early game and going double warriors. Sorry, going for the facts of having the facts of Susano in the early game, really useful. But Johnny's got to learn to watch his mini-map and see that Twig was right behind him, because now he's taking so much free damage that he didn't really need to take whatsoever. And Twig's going to hit level 4 before him when Johnny was just looking for a bit of a fight.
That is a free advantage that goes the way of Obey Alliance, and it looks like Ataraxia trying to get some poke on the Fusify too. 3 members, EmilZy and PrettyPriMe, all here to try and get these oracles, while FaraKrik is still rotating into the fight.
I love what EmilZy does here, just goes on zone duty. Anybody comes too far forward, I'll either peel to make sure you can't get the damage off, which means we're going to get the camps, or I'll pluck you into danger and you're going to have a bad time. Sobek against Jing though, not the greatest pick in the world. It's not going to be too useful against Jing because she'll be able to just use agility off the back of a knock-up or a pluck.
Obey Alliance do get those oracles, as you said. EmilZy doing an excellent job zoning to set those up for them. Burrito having to settle for these back harpies, though, because the aggression from Obey Alliance is a little too much. They go back, wait on those buffs on that side to come up as Obey again take those elementals on the solo side. And now they're rotating into Sibi, who's here in lane alone. The jump in, but very safe, is Erlang Shen.
He'll be fine, and that's a good thing for Sibi, realistically. He's just going to be able to stand tall in the lane. Didn't take too much poke, which means he doesn't have to go back to base either. And also take into account he's got Phantom. I love the fact Sibi went Phantom because he's expecting they're going to try and camp him and get Xaliea ahead again. Twig loves that right-hand side of the map right now. They're leaving the dual lane to do its own business, which is just the Hunters, which means Sibi knows, you know what? They're probably going to be in my face all the time, this freaking Odin, so I'm going to get Phantom to make sure that if they do go all in on me, I'm able to walk through that wall.
Fusify's Defender of Olympus comes out to get him back to safety, as he was very far forward on Obey's side of the map. But I want to talk about Fusify a little bit because he did pick up the blink, so that's how he's going to be looking likely to make his engagements. Blink in and then still have that dash available to Obey are coming in to try and take this red buff.
Yeah, because Kespainify's got to get out of here. Don't look for the steal. He's just got to get away and play safe. And they will lose the red. Right inside is Xaliea being ganked here. Great play from Johnny again. And that's why he's seen as one of the players of this team that's really good. Oh, he's not going to be able to kill him, though, minions. Okay, minions. They calm down for a second. For a second, I thought, hang on, Fusify with the blink.
Fusify is coming around, trying to get in here onto Xaliea, but he knows better than to go into both a minion wave and that tier 2 tower. So despite wanting to clean Xaliea up, he makes the tempered call and backs off.
So yeah, talking a bit more about the blink, like you mentioned too. That blink situation there, it's going to be useful for if the ring goes down and he can't get inside it to help people, he can technically blink into the ring or behind the ring to be able to taunt people away from doing damage. Can be useful. It's not necessarily going to be the best thing in the world, but it does mean you can keep your dash up as well, potentially in certain situations, and then use that to either get out or continue on.
Once again, Obey Alliance, the ones that are first there when those Oracle spawn, as they have the respawn timers. Sibi at least here to contest this time, but not able to stop him getting him picked up. He's going to need to back off because Johnny has chosen to go to wave.
Good pin, and Johnny's just going to have to hold back now because the minion wave's pushed, but Obey just going to have to clear this out anyway. This is going to be a slow process game for the time being because Obey's composition is all about team fights. Janus in the early game, not a ridiculous amount of damage output. Odin, yeah. Osiris, get into a later stage of the game. Then you've got Skadi, who's been left alone. So Obey are going to play this for a long game here, I feel. And then Burrito, they have a chance to try and get something out of the early game potentially, especially with the likes of Thoth and Johnny on that Susano.
Odin was a good pick into the comp from Burrito, I think we felt like, but they don't really have the typical big mage burst follow-up that you look for afterwards. Is that something that could be a problem, or do you think they'll still have plenty of damage for that lockdown?
Yes and no, but think about towards the late game as well. As time goes on, one ring from Odin means that that circle is going to keep them all trapped. I mean, in doing so means that through space and time coming out from PrettyPriMe is a tiny bit easier to aim because they can't get out the ring. So as long as they aim somewhere in the ring, I've got a higher chance of hitting someone. Same with my unstable vortexes on top of that.
and that will be the plan for him. Have PrettyPriMe follow up, Ataraxia as well. Can do some decent AoE damage between him and Calder with that ultimate, so they do have a chance to follow up on that Odin cage, even though it's not the typical big, like maybe Scylla damage or even like a Hu Yi who can drop the Suns on top of it, as Dzoni and Xaliea continue to box out, and Xaliea getting actually pretty low.
I'm a bit surprised by Obey's composition draft, though, to be fair. Like we saw last game, it took 25 minutes for him to take down Burrito, and it almost feels like they decided to draft a later game composition. I'm not sure why. They wanted to maybe practice a little bit in the later game, because realistically with how game one looked, they just have to repeat that once more, but they're giving Burrito a chance in this one, it feels like, more so than he should have been given.
Sibi now trying to get his taunt off as CaptainTwig drops his ult. The Phantom comes up big though, so he can go in, taunt CaptainTwig into the follow-up damage. Fusify getting credit for that kill, courtesy of FaraKrik, but the through space and time actually hits FaraKrik in the back.
Prime still staying in this fight. That was pretty risky for him, but the taunt from Fusify won't hit its mark, and those portals will allow the whole team to get away, apart from Ataraxia. As the portal closes behind him, he still can't find that one, but now it's Sibi in trouble. Pinned from Xaliea, but the damage from the backline is helping out. The knock-up is good, but Xalia's still alive. Bluestone won't be enough. EmilZy's going to live with one hit too. Ataraxia did finally bring down Sibi. 1 for 1.
The Aegis for Ataraxia was so big as Fusify cleans up Ataraxia. Finally, that's what kept him alive and put Sibi out of position. But CaptainTwig continuing to push in on Dzoni, thanks to PrettyPriMe, who comes in and cleans it up.
We call that greed from Burrito there. They're like, listen, you're looking to try and find a win after the fight. I get it. You go and try and take some jungle experience. I get it. But you do the back harpies where members of the team are definitely still alive. That's risky, and 2 of them nearly died for that. Dzoni paid with his life completely, as Prime was able to just come back in and clean up the kill that Twig set him up for. And Fusify looking to defend. Will he do so? Good job. That's a support right there.
Goes in and defends the speed buff of his jungler. CaptainTwig looking to get something off the back of that last engagement, as the kills are now 2-2. And the gold's only about 500 or so in favor of Obey Alliance. So 8 minutes in, things are still very close. As CaptainTwig looking to take the blue buff as well.
Yeah, blue buff will go down though. Sibi secures it for himself once more. Ring this time. Where's your Phantom now? Sibi surrounded by 3. And in comes PrettyPriMe with pretty much the shotgun to the back of the head there. He didn't even have to aim it. He could have just fired it blind and that would have hit from that range.
Big rotation from PrettyPriMe. CaptainTwig and Xaliea probably would have locked that up with the strong Odin cage, but just to make sure there was no chance of Sibi being able to get that heal off, PrettyPriMe deletes him. Now, Obey Alliance rotate over to get these oracles on the dual lane side as well after they get their advantage in right. Yeah,
just 2 oracles and then back to safety of their own half of the map. Looking at itemization, you can see Transcendence coming online for Ataraxia now slowly but surely. And meanwhile, Kespainify has just gone back and completed the Devourer's Gauntlets, which is going to be helpful for Burrito, especially if they keep fighting on the right-hand side. And if you see Ataraxia maybe rotate to the team fight on the right-hand side, you could see a solo kill of the Gold Fury coming out from Kespainify using Jing and the Devourer's Gauntlets to the advantage.
Now, I gotta think FaraKrik's going to have an advantage here in this game, because he does buy his own book, right? That's a pretty big deal. It's his book, and he also bought it.
Sure.
Right? That's a big deal for Thoth.
But Kronos doesn't buy Kronos Pendant. Why doesn't he do that?
He should.
He should.
Because it's his pendant.
Because it's his.
And it shouldn't cost him anything in the store either. Who do we need to get on the phone to make that one happen?
Hercules doesn't always buy Hide of Nemean Lion, but he should, right? Because
yes!
He owns that Nemean Lion.
Yes, he should! And he should get 5 extra defense on it as well.
Whoa. Don't be trying to be balling stuff off little tidbits. That's dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Stuff. That's a bit of a spoiler for 4.20 as CaptainTwig catches out Fusify, but he's taking good poke from FaraKrik, so he's the one that has to run.
It would be lit if that was the case. Space and time out of Prime there from distance, and Johnny's the one in a bit of trouble because of that portal, but EmilZy didn't really want to commit. His team weren't in a position to do so. This is going to be a longer game, John, and I think that's just because of Obey's draft more than anything else. Burrito got through the early game. That's the main thing, and the biggest issues they were looking to make work on after the early was mid. Well, they're definitely going to see a mid game here. That's the main thing. PrettyPriMe gets good damage on the Dzoni, and CaptainTwig came in to clean him up, but he was available to just blink on out of there. Now he's back to safety. But I got to agree. In fact, I'm particularly scared of all the control Burrito would have in that late game. Double taunt, Dzoni as well, piloting
the Susano has a lot of control too, so it's a scary comp.
Well, even though that ring that we keep talking about Odin having is really good against this composition on paper, look at the amount of help that Burrito can give to teammates trapped inside. You've got Susano's ultimate, which will knock up members inside the ring and even members behind the ring, potentially, of Obey. Top of that, you've also got the taunts from Fusify that can come into play and help him out there. And then add Erlang Shen, Sibi, with his own taunts. That can cause some problems too, where they're not going to be able to deal as much damage during the ring duration as Obey may like. So they're going to have to play very far back in some of these engagements, even with the ring, to keep people trapped inside.
And Kespainify kind of has better follow-up to it than anyone from Obey Alliance, able to place his ultimate on top of that cage too if they move into it. So that could potentially be something that could cause an issue for him, but
not maybe the Kespainify as much as because, you know, it's a Jing where you don't want to really use one of their escapes as... Sure. You'll generally use the airstrike as a kill opportunity, as a finishing blow, or an escape most of the time with some damage. Use it to like airstrike over an Odin cage. You're a little bit 420 at that point, that's for sure. But then FaraKrik is different. Like Thoth, get on the backline, as long as he doesn't get trapped in that ring, FaraKrik is going to be able to put a lot of damage out from the back as Obey funnel around a ring and try and like pick people off.
They do expect Kespainify to be doing some damage as they let him pick up the red buff, and he's happy to do it. Oracle's once again going the way of Obey Alliance, as still things are very, very even. A little bit less, or a little bit more than 1,000 gold lead in favor of Obey Alliance. Still at 12 minutes into the game, 2-3 sit the kills. Those kills are on PrettyPriMe, who bought the Doom Orb, though, so that's a big deal for Obey.
It's a really big point, too, because look where the kills for Obey have gone to. They've gone to the carries on a Janus, who we said his early game isn't the strongest in terms of the damage output. Utilizing the fact that he gets those kills to get a Doom Orb online, get that stacking up, helps out his early to mid-game a little bit more. And as well, you've also got that kill on Ataraxia. Not going to complain about Hunters getting kills, are we? Well, she kills on Burrito, though. That's your issue.
Yeah, they're both on Fusify, which is not ideal for Athena to have both those kills. I mean, it's never too bad when your support gets a little bit of extra farm, because they are the ones that have the hardest time getting gold and can be a little gold starved, but you would definitely rather have those on Kespainify, who's sitting at level 14, sitting even with Ataraxia this far into the game. But we're seeing them take different build paths here. Ataraxia going with that Transcendence, and Kespainify going with the Devil Gloves into some more attack speed. Executioner or Kin Size could be an option for him here next after Bounce.
Now also with the play from Obey here, because they've got later game composition too, they can't even look for really gold furies, even if they feel dominant and in the right position to do so, because of the likes of having the FaraKrik on the enemy team. Obviously, Thoth is one of the best securers in the game with a long range ability to be able to snipe it away. And yeah, Janus is pretty good at it with his through space and time, but it's very, very unreliable because you're going to cast it so early, just like that. But FaraKrik's in trouble.
Aegis already burned. Odin Cage comes down. It's the bird bond damage that cleans it up. Fusify has that Defender of Olympus charging, but not charging fast enough. He gets sent back to basic. Kespainify in a lot of trouble too as CaptainTwig gets off the slow.
But Kespainify should be safe here. No ring available for Twig, and I love what Kespainify does. Turn around and burn the shield. Less damage coming out. Mid lane, Dzoni tried to punish PrettyPriMe there for his positioning. Did get the Aegis out of PrettyPriMe though, which is big. But this Gold Fury could be even bigger. Kespainify to the rescue.
They're forcing Kespainify to have to answer this Gold Fury. His ultimate's out now. Without that safety net, he'll back off and let Obey Alliance take this Gold Fury uncontested. So now Obey is starting to open the game up a little bit off that engagement we saw in the jungle.
Just a little bit, because if you remember last game when we saw the first game in this set, look at the experience difference between the two. If we go to the grass and experience, it's relatively even. It says 3.4k there, but that is really split amongst all five, so it's not as big as you think.
Not like when it was all in one lane last game.
All on Ataraxia, yeah. Well, Ataraxia is even with Kespainify this game. But the extra 3k experience is kind of shared, and it's not too bad at this stage to be only that far behind as it stands. But Burrito have a chance here to try and answer something back with this Portal Demon.
They've got it started up, and they've got it very low. Sibi goes in and taunts two members to keep them from contesting. The Portal Demon, PrettyPriMe, though, is the one that cleans Sibi up, but he trades his life for the objective. If Fusify can get out of here, it might still be worth, but he looks to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Fusify there made a small mistake for me. He should have just gone back to... He should have just left Sibi to die. Sibi did the right thing, though. Zoned.
Yeah.
Zone away people trying to come in and take the Portal Demon. They should have sacrificed Sibi for the Portal Demon, and job's a good one. Fusify, though, always a support, wants to help out a teammate, gets himself caught too. So in the end, Obey like, well, we got 2 kills for it, so I guess it's not too bad.
Glad to see your support's not happy to let anyone go down alone, but in that case, maybe backing up would have been the better option. Dzoni, though, trying to defend these Oracles against 2. I don't know about that call. He takes a lot of damage, and PrettyPriMe commits the ultimate to try and take him out, but it's a little off the mark.
Yeah, Johnny just too quick to get away, be able to get away so quickly. Using the fact that the speed buff and plays Susano too, even though he had some mobility nerfs, he's still one of the most mobile junglers, that's for sure. And that's one thing that you can see Burrito really drafted here is mobility in a lot of characters this game. Obviously, you've got Jing, fantastically mobile. Susano, fantastically mobile. Then you've got FaraKrik. He's still got pretty good mobility because that dash can take him a long way away if he uses his glyph wall. And Fusify with a dash and the ultimate to get him out of danger. Much more mobility to try and reposition themselves, and it helps our Burrito in some areas.
And I'm glad you brought up FaraKrik because that's a big part of where I think our differences in this game are going to start to develop. PrettyPriMe, the one sitting 3-0-3 with the Doom Orb fully stacked and building into his pan item a little bit ahead. So that's another big power spike that they'll have as Ataraxia is under trouble from Kespainify. The Aegis comes out, but the Defender of Olympus comes down. Two quick kills for Burrito. Ataraxia falls as well as PrettyPriMe.
Prime in mid too, and EmilZy can just barely watch. And now look at Obey. They're angry. They're all rotating around now going, what are you doing? This is our house. In comes Twig. He's going to blink in, but immediately you'll see Fusify dip and say, FaraKrik, you will be missed, but it's still a 2-for-1. In comes Sibi with a taunt too, and the fight's still going.
Sibi gets the taunt off, but there's nothing to follow up for it. Fusify is the call for all three members of Obey who continue to try and take him down, but it's enough time for Kespainify to get in and try and put in some return damage, but it's not really enough. Obey Alliance kind of just walk away.
I like what Johnny's doing too. I'm just going to keep farming, boys, and trying to take the tower down because you guys are okay there. No one's really going to get picked off with how this stands. So Burrito take a 2-for-1 as a free tower shred in the mid lane. Small window for them. This is what we're talking about. The mid game seems to be a little bit better for them. They're doing okay for now.
They are able to fight for now, but Sibi looking to be in a little bit of trouble. Those 72 transformations just went down, so he has no way to get away from the slow from EmilZy. They take him down, but at least Johnny got his speed buff.
That's all junglers care about.
It seemed like it just now.
Listen, lose any game, you lose as many games as you want, but as long as you get your speed, the day's a good day.
Johnny giving the thumbs up as he moves around the map faster than normal with the speed buff around his waist.
I actually do want to ask every SPL jungler, if you had a choice between winning the game or getting every single speed buff that spawned, I'm pretty sure 90% of them would probably say getting their speed buff.
They would, yeah. They'd at least have a hard time making the call. It would not be snap. They would not say it right away.
Exactly. So 10-4, 14 kills in the game in 17.5 minutes, closer to 18. Only a 3 to 4k experience lead, sorry, gold lead, I should say, for Obey as it stands. So Burrito are in this one. We were talked a little bit about FaraKrik, and you mentioned this to do with like we can see that PrettyPrime's online. FaraKrik hasn't really done much this game so far. He's been so safe and trying to play safe. He's 0-2-2.
Bottom of the player
Look
damage.
at his player damage. Yeah. Bottom, below than supports. You need to make an impact, at least with the ultimate. Even if you're not going to have the fights too much, don't be scared to throw the ultimate out sometimes to see if it can change a fight.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Yeah, sure, but it could also be you're doing 0 damage because you're not doing any abilities to do damage.
That's what I'm saying. If he doesn't shoot, he'll never be able to get any damage out. CaptainTwig goes in on the FaraKrik, who once again is trapped. Where is Sibi with the Phantom? Nowhere to be found. PrettyPriMe cleaning up that kill with the snipe.
And what did I say about PrettyPriMe through space and time? You put him in a ring, and it's easier to hit because, well, I've got less places he can juke from. So makes it a little bit easier, and FaraKrik picked off again.
It's also PrettyPriMe, who, as he said more times than not, is just on in that middle lane, doing very well with the Janus sitting at 4-1-3.
I was going to say, we just saw his Raging game last time.
That was an anomaly. PrettyPriMe, one of the best mid laners right now. He able to get that Doom Orb fully stacked despite that death too, so he's back to rocking full power as they start.
It's not too tricky. To keep a Doom Orb stacked these days, it's not too tricky. You shouldn't be dying that often anyway, and if you are,
especially on Janus,
don't be buying Doom Orb. Ataraxia though, he's in trouble. Portals to the rescue, but round the back is Johnny.
Johnny pulls him in and is ready to start putting in the damage. It's enough. Now he's just looking to turn tail and make the escape as he cleans up Ataraxia.
Bad spot, but blinks away. He bought enough time to get himself out of combat. Round the back though, the Warriors turned up, at least the Guardian did with Xaliea, to try and keep the pressure onto Burrito and keep them away from Johnny. But this is a pretty good fight for Burrito as FaraKrik got a huge ultimate off.
PrettyPriMe had the Aegis to keep him alive, but it just wasn't enough. EmilZy, though, does manage to clean up Sibi. Xaliea in some trouble, but the wall from CaptainTwig enough to help get him away from the rest of this engagement. Johnny hanging around, looking for something at the back of it. But now it's Burrito pulling up that Gold Fury.
And look at the health bars. It's only really EmilZy that can do something. Twig might try try and sacrifice to go in here with a bird bomb. Burrito are going to commit on EmilZy, which I like, but they've still got aggro on the Gold Fury. Fusify still tanking it. Don't let him steal it. He stole it away. What are you doing?
Burrito unable to make the call to fully leash the Gold Fury and then go in onto EmilZy. So by keeping it low, CaptainTwig able to just walk up and then put that damage into the Gold Fury. Just a little bit of the inexperience from Burrito shining through.
Stupidity. That's what that was. And I don't know. I don't say that lightly because, you know, I don't really go in on players, honestly. But that was just silly. Like, they legit aggroed the Gold Fury, held the Gold Fury under 10% health and went, you know what, let's take a team fight 2 against 2 and we won't even kill him. But you know what, if they want Gold Fury, yeah, they could. What? Pick one or the other. Like, just pick one. Commit to Gold Fury, outburst it, peel them away, make sure you don't do it. Or kill them. One or the other, don't try both. Terrible mistake, very punishing. Much bad, such wow.
CaptainTwig, though, very likely giggling as he's able to steal away the objective from Burrito and prevent a gold swing in their favor. Not just gold that they would have had, but that Obey would not have gotten.
Go to the graphs. Go to the graphs real quick for us, cameraman, please. Because when you see these graphs here, look at the dip that you see in the 4.5k. That's closer towards an even game with that Gold Fury going the way of Burrito there. That's the mistake they made. They almost put themselves in more of an even playing field against Obey.
Yeah, if they had another tick back up towards it, they would be even. Yeah, so that
not down.
It's kind of twice what they end up losing there. Not just that they don't gain it, but that Obey does. Now Obey looking to establish position around that portal demon on the solo lane side of the map, and Burrito going to have to start thinking a little bit more about going into these engagements now.
Well, I mean, just make sure you make the basic plays. That's the first thing you do. Just make the basic plays. Johnny's going to be able to get away from Twig here. Twig has no blink available just yet. I was just keeping an eye on how long his blink was going to be available for. Back up now, however, but trying to keep the pressure on. At 12-6, though, it's still closer for Burrito than it was previously. It should be even, but, you know, I've had enough of talking about that now. I'm just tilted. It tilted me so much.
Johnny is going full damage, it looks like, so far. Not too surprising for Susano, but it does mean if Obey are able to get him locked down in the Odin cage or with EmilZy getting a pluck, it won't be too difficult to blow him up at this point in the game. So if he's not able to stay mobile, Obey will look to punish.
They will, and with Burrito's position here, though, there's a nice little chance for him to set this tower in mid lane. Fusify's decision there to go in is good, because he should be like, yo, guys, get the tower, we can take it for free. Tower's down, EmilZy's used all his abilities already, but in comes Twig.
PrettyPriMe does a good job using his ult for CC immunity up against Johnny, but it's FaraKrik who's in trouble inside the Odin cage. Ataraxia getting credit for that, moving up to 2, 3, and 5. But Xaliea rotating over at the perfect time, catches Kespainify with the Aegis, and now here's EmilZy to help.
Oh, Kespainify's still alive for a while, though. Under pressure is Fusify. He's going to fall under the tower. Sibi's going to turn into a turtle and run through them all, but he can't do much more as Obey pick up 3 quick kills and probably look towards the portal demon, I'd say.
3 for 0 in favor of Obey Alliance. 3 of them do take the portal demon, while PrettyPriMe continues to split push, and CaptainTwig fights with Johnny there in the mid lane to keep him from having any say about the portal demon. EmilZy trying to keep Sibi away, who was close with the pin, but he makes the right decision to back off.
I like the idea from that.
Yeah.
Go for the attempt. Maybe pull a CaptainTwig and steal it away, like we saw earlier on. Could have come to the rescue, but at the end of the day, unfortunate situation. Johnny with the lazy back, though. He was shopping. He was shopping, and now he's fighting.
CaptainTwig
18 versus 18, though.
And smacks him in the face to keep him around. CaptainTwig actually got very low. The ult was just barely enough, but CaptainTwig able to get away. Ataraxia cleans up Johnny. CaptainTwig now full LOLing probably at his keyboard, knowing that not only he's still the Gold Fury, but gets to take down Johnny.
We should just follow CaptainTwig around this whole game, because this whole game, everything's been to do with CaptainTwig. He's either living with 1 health and people are dying around him, or he's stealing Gold Furies when he shouldn't be able to. And now he's back in the action. See? Just follow him. He's just all where the action is every single time.
Sibi uses the Phantom to get outside of the Odin cage, but he might still be dead to right. Uses the taunt just to get himself the heal. FaraKrik gets a stun off too, but Ataraxia is in trouble with Kespainify and Fusify. There's the ultimate, as you said, when they're low to try and confirm the kill.
Minions.
Dodging in the minion way to stay alive. The turn on the Fusify was big from Ataraxia.
Ataraxia should still die here, but he's buying enough time for his team to be able to pick up 2 in response. So Sibi's going to go down. FaraKrik being pressured by Xaliea, who's forcing the beads out of FaraKrik too. Nice little taunt and stun at the same time, unfortunately, which means the CC change is not as good. But now Obey back on the aggressive. They can't really look for the tier 1 tower with no minions, but they can at least get the speed buff.
CaptainTwig happy to get a speed buff, especially happy if he's taking it away from Johnny. Got it around his waist, and Now they back off. Obey Alliance now even further in the lead, looking closer to 7K gold. 18-7 now are the kills. And now is the point where Obey Alliance are in the driver's seat with their lead. It's not just, well, maybe we don't take this fight. Now Obey Alliance choose what's happening.
They are, and the difference is this game as well. If you watch what Burrito have done in this game, they've had chances. They have had opportunities to grab
They
this
had a
game.
Gold Fury, Hindu.
I wasn't going to say it again, but you did. That's fine. But they have had chances to grab this game by the scruff of the neck and potentially put themselves in the prime position.
The pretty prime position?
Still not. No, because that's mid lane.
That's mid lane. There you go. I don't know what that means.
It means that's pretty prime's position.
All right.
What else does it mean?
I don't know. I don't know, Hindu, but I do know Obey Alliance are 8K up right now.
But whenever you try and throw me under the bus or try and confuse me in some way, it's you that just goes silent because you can't think of what to say next.
What you said didn't make any sense.
It doesn't need to. I just need to keep
What?
speaking, and eventually you'll get confused, and I'll win.
Hindu, man, you can't say nonsense and say you won.
I have done this for years, saying nonsense for years, and I'm still here saying the same nonsense. Here's some nonsense. 2v1 becomes a 2v2, and Pretty Prime's going to get a kill.
That's what the ultimate from PrettyPriMe does. That fight went from a 2v1 to a 3v2. Kespainify dropping right back down to trouble to try and take out Ataraxia, and he does.
Love it.
He'll pay for it with his life, but at least makes it, gets a kill.
Yeah, Ataraxia got a little bit baited there. He was like, yeah, Kespainify's going to fly over the wall, and I'm not going to chase him in time. And he went, wait, what? He dropped in my face? Oh, no, I'm out of position now, and there's not much I can do about it. So, nice bit of fun from Kespainify. He probably would have died in the jungle there, so at least makes it a 1-for-1 trade. But always got to respect where Janus is. Meanwhile, Twig is fighting FaraKrik again, and poor old FaraKrik's on his own in the mid lane. Trapped in a ring. And not the sort of ring he likes to be in, that's for sure. Boom.
Odin liked it, so he put a ring on it. Sends FaraKrik back to base. Dzoni also in trouble on the dual lane side. That tier 1's not there. The ultimate from through space and time was almost on the mark, but Dzoni jukes it. But it's okay. He ends up falling anyway across the map. 3 have fallen. Ataraxia sitting in the base for Obey as they continue to push down towers. It's not even worrying about the Gold Fury.
Are Obey just stat padding here? Because last game they were taking towers down, and this game they're just fighting for days. And to be fair, with a comp like this, you do want to fight. And I guess getting Janus to late game prime is like, let's just fight them, because I just want to use my portals and keep punching people in the face and getting my player damage a little bit higher.
And Hindu, man, I know you feel like you harped on the Gold Fury a little bit too much, but I don't think that you did. We were saying earlier how slow-paced the game was. Yeah. That was only about 10 or so minutes ago. It feels like after that fight, after Obey got that advantage, they've started pushing the lead ever since then.
It's not just because of the game state and how late or early in the game it was also because of tilt.
Yeah.
You throw an objective like that, you are going to be tilted, whether you like it or not, and it's very hard to shake tilt. And then when you've got Obey, who are off the back of that happily as Larry going, hey, we got a free Gold Fury, okay, let's continue what we're doing, and now you're tilted, this is what happens. CaptainTwig
goes in fighting 2, forcing the Phantom out from Sibi, who's now in a lot of trouble, surrounded by 4. FaraKrik's ultimate does come through and bring Ataraxia down to half HP, but really not any other follow-up after that.
Sure, but what we're looking for FaraKrik right now, still only level 17, 3 levels behind PrettyPriMe. At 28 minutes in the game, there is only 1 level 20 on Burrito. In a game that was very farm-orientated in the beginning, that's problematic.
EmilZy able to pluck back Fusify as Obey take the Gold Fury, no problem. Xaliea up at the front line, trying to put some more damage, and that portal there is for Xaliea to go through. Sometimes you'll see Janus put that portal down just as sort of a bluff, but Xaliea ain't bluffing today.
And now they're just going to fall back, because Johnny's actually committing to Twig here for a kill, and in doing so, he's put himself in a very awkward spot. The chase could be on from Obey, but with Fusify and FaraKrik coming up the rear, they have to back away.
Fusify blinks in, gets a taunt on the Ataraxia to pull out the bead. Xalia's thorns are ticking, sending back damage, and that's enough to deter Burrito just for the moment. And Burrito are looking for a chance to try and get something back here. They're staying aggressive. Dzoni on the right side gets plucked by EmilZy, but he pulls in Twig and EmilZy. The ultimate comes out from Dzoni, but it's not enough. There he goes. He eventually does fall.
But look what happened there. Space of time! Dzoni is not on the spot. Not the right spot anyway, that's for sure. And that actually brings him down too. But look what happened there. Twig overextends and Burrito collapse and kill him, right? But they only get Twig a tank. The damage dealers then just Shrek through Burrito, as we're seeing now, and now they're just still in a prime position. Pretty prime position.
A pretty prime position at the Portal Demon is Obey. They realize, though, with only 3 members here, no Ataraxia, they got to back off, as Ataraxia took a good bit of poke from FaraKrik earlier on in that engagement. That's why he's not here with us now. PrettyPriMe, though, backing up, taking that Gold Fury, and Obey still firmly in the lead at 11,000. We'll get to make the next shot here 30 minutes into the game.
Yep, 30 minutes about to tick now. And that's pretty much been it. There's not much else to really talk about this game other than the Gold Fury mistake has come back to haunt Burrito hugely. The tilt factor was the biggest thing for me. They've also not really got that much peel for FaraKrik this game. And FaraKrik has been focused throughout. You can see that in terms of his player damage. You can see that in terms of his KDA and his farm. Every time he tries to get involved, it's either Xaliea in his face and Osiris, you don't want that, you're not going to kill him, or an Odin, or even the Sobek has caused him problems too.
And CaptainTwig really has been the one causing problems. FaraKrik finally does get a big ultimate through the team fight. Ataraxia taking a lot of damage, but Sibi taking damage from the Fire Giant here too was helping out a little bit. Dzoni in the backline has the Defender of Olympus. That's why he jumps in just a little bit off the mark, so no damage, but through space and time comes through the team fight.
But with that should be all it wrote, because Johnny's just going to try and get away, and Johnny's doing a good job of distracting the whole time. Even while these fights are going on, just trying to buy moments for Burrito to get themselves back in position and then answer back. So the Portal Demon is away, and that was a lot down to FaraKrik, honestly. The FaraKrik ult was fantastic. Ataraxia gets taken out, and so it's going to slow down Obey for a second and give Burrito a chance at a Portal Demon.
They do start it up, taunt onto CaptainTwig. Xaliea is here along the side to slow down the aggression. Now PrettyPriMe and EmilZy have a chance to get back into the fight. But remember, Ataraxia can't be a part of this team fight. He's still in base for 10 seconds. Sibi for the same, but that means Obey don't have their AD carry.
Still fighting around here, Burrito. I mean, look at the health bars. 75% for 3 of them. Still looking to try and fight, hang around. Kespainify was looking to sustain a little bit, but now that they've all decided to fall back, it means that the Portal Demon was attempted for a second by Obey, but hang on a second. Why don't we go for the speed buff instead?
CaptainTwig, a jungler at heart, goes for that speed buff, plucking back Fusify and separating him from his team. But with that dash, he's able to get away. Now Obey Alliance fall back to the Portal Demon one more time, but Burrito are here, and they're 4-man strong as Dzoni goes back to base.
And so Obey will just go back to farming for now. They realize they can't really take a fight against the whole team in this position right now. It'll be ward wars is the big one there. And obviously the Obey ward still on the ground should signify that it was Obey's all along. Fusify's ultimate now on cooldown. Used to get back to this fight, and Obey would have seen that, recognized it, and realized they have an ult advantage now.
And it does really feel like Obey's looking a little more for kills than objective this game, doesn't it?
Feels like a rank game. That's what it feels like.
Instead of doing the pull and forcing in an engagement, they give up on it a little bit too soon, but CaptainTwig blinks in, cages 3 members. The Phantom comes out, but he doesn't hit FaraKrik, who's still trapped inside. He's forced to use his AD. Through base in time does take out Kespainify, and now Xaliea is going to keep pushing forward.
And if you're going to lose Kespainify, one of your damage dealers are down. FaraKrik goes down. There's 2 damage dealers down, which means it's tanks and the Susano. And Susano's just trying to keep you dancing as long as you can, whereas Obey did what they needed to. They take out the damage dealers, which means this Portal Demon should be free. Oh, look at that, they're zoning.
Dzoni hanging around the backside with the ultimate. He didn't send it through in time, though. Obey Alliance ended up getting it. But did you see Sibi wasn't able to get FaraKrik with that Phantom in that last fight? I feel like that's a big part of why he ended up falling. Only got 2 members.
EmilZy, I was going to say that. EmilZy keeping Sibi busy, and it's not for anything other than just to troll and have fun, because it means he can't push down the tier 2 tower. And Obey can now commit to a Fire Giant.
Ataraxia finally back in the engagement, getting it started up. Sibi is here, but CaptainTwig is keeping it from having any say, and Burrito decide not to contest this one. There's no way for them to go in. Instead, trying to get what farm they can on the map, as all 5 members of Obey Alliance have their Fire Giant, and the tier 2 towers are available for them to start pushing. EmilZy trying to catch Fusify?
Maybe they could have positioned it, but not much really for Obey to do now, other than just to take down the last couple of remaining towers, take the Gold Fury 2, continue their gold lead. What are we up now? What, 13,000?
Yes.
13,000 at 33 minutes in, experience 18,000. That experience still, surprisingly enough, that experience still matters, sadly enough. At 34 minutes, you expect to see more people at level 20. You've still got 3 members of Burrito at level 18.
That is the one advantage, though, of Obey Alliance hanging around this Portal Demon for like 7 minutes, is that you can't get all the farm like you traditionally do, so that's hurting Burrito a little bit, pulling them over since they are mostly, or all level 20 now.
Very true, and now what I see just Obey look to chip down at the towers. Burrito did just put 1 defense at one of these towers. If I was Obey, I'd probably do what they did last game and split. Do a 3 and a 2 comp and push down 2 at the same time, because I don't think Burrito could take a 3 and a 2 fight. they'd have to take a 5v5 and do well using FaraKrik to the rescue, really, like he did around the Portal Demon before it was taken.
CaptainTwig not going to let them have a speed buff this game. Twisting time doesn't quite hit the mark, but Sibi's the one who's trapped inside the Odin cage, and he does get taken down. Fusify getting chased by Ataraxia, while EmilZy tries to chase down Kespainify.
Got to be a little bit careful of Kespainify, though. You saw how much damage EmilZy took just from a couple of autos there. But there is a window on the right-hand side to take the tier 2 tower. Obey, we're looking for the fight first of all, but Twig's like, guys, come on. This hurts. Like, I know I've got Fire Giant and stuff, but I still need your help.
Sibi falling for Burrito does open up Obey Alliance to take the tier 2 tower in right now. They're looking to group Dzoni. Could potentially get caught out. PrettyPriMe damage is good, and the lockdown from EmilZy is better. Dzoni now 60-second sit-out timer as Obey Alliance look for the right side Phoenix.
Yep. 4v5, 2 members, sorry, 3v5, 2 members dead. In goes Fusify with a taunt into the ult onto Ataraxia from FaraKrik, was pretty solid. But you can see how little damage FaraKrik's able to do at only level 18, being so far behind. We've seen the Thoths in the mid lane one-shot carries in that position. Wasn't the case there. And it also does take into account Mantle and Discord for Ataraxia too. Just to add to that, he did have some protections.
That was the dream initiation, at least as far as the FaraKrik setup for the Thoth ultimate. And like you said, only able to bring him down to about half health. Phoenix does fall on the right-hand side. Tier 2 Phoenix, Tier 2 tower, rather, falls in the mid lane. Now Kespainify caught inside the cage. The Phantom does come out to get him free from it. Sibi able to get both this time. But that does open up the door for some damage to come out from Ataraxia.
Yeah, mainly for the Phoenix. So the Phoenix will fall there. So 2 down, and all that's left is a Tier 2 tower and 1 remaining Phoenix for Obey. Burrito are just kind of sat on the sideline watching, because every single time they go into a fight, they lose a member. So they're never fighting with equal odds. And yeah, this comes back to that Gold Fury, realistically, the tilt. The tilt of losing that, and then Obey just went, well, we'll just keep doing what we have been doing, and that's been the game.
Obey Alliance looking to see if Burrito will start coming a little too forward to push up the wave and catch someone out. Dzoni and Fusify looking to rotate on the back line and try and take out PrettyPriMe, who's moving forward, trying to get closer to the rest of his tanky team. But Obey Alliance feigned like they were trying to go back, but instead they're looking to take the fight. Fusify goes in, and now Fusify is the one that's caught out because Dzoni could not follow up. Fusify taken down.
Great wall coverage from Obey Alliance there, because there was a sneaky play coming up from Burrito trying to make one last stand at this Phoenix, but it was spotted on the engagement, and they were already dead before they could do anything. Now it's the final Phoenix in a 4v5. Dzoni's still trying to make something happen, but the Phoenix is going to be dead, as is Kespainify. 1 hit from death. The Aegis will at least keep him alive from any follow-up damage, which wasn't even coming.
Through space and time brought him down solo, I believe. All 3 Phoenixes are down. Burrito only has their Titan left to defend as Obey Alliance go back and try and spin what they can from their ridiculous 22k gold lead and group back up to try and make their final push. Burrito, if they want to make something happen, they're going to need a big play from FaraKrik, not Kespainify, but Fusify and Sibi working together on one, either PrettyPriMe or Ataraxia.
Well, you slipped up and said Kespainify there, but I actually think you're right. Kespainify is probably the one to look at with FaraKrik, because he's the one that's dealing the most damage on this team. 28,000, nearly 30,000 damage for him. Second on the leaderboard, and take into account his team is behind massively. You're looking for your Hunter to make a big play in the late game. Full crit build available for him as well with that Deathbringer. He is shredding the tanks in the front line too. So if it's anyone you're looking to try and support, it's technically get FaraKrik to get a big time ultimate off onto the squishy targets, and then peel for Kespainify as much as you can to allow him the window to try and get those crits off, especially because it is AoE damage as well with those crits if you can find it.
Sibi and FaraKrik have had a rough go of it this game so far. Sibi, sort of the one that's been relegated to zoning, contesting objectives when they don't have too good a job to confirm them, or just trying to be the one that goes and gets the Phantom off. He's 0-9 and 4. FaraKrik sitting at 0-6 and 6. Both of these players, though, know they still have a chance to try and defend against the Fire Giant of Obey Alliance. It's not over until that Titan falls down. But that Fire Giant did fall down. That's going to give a significant buff to Obey as they look to come in, clean up the last bits on the map, and make their final push.
Well, I've seen it before. I'm not going to say for this game realistically, but I've seen games come back from this position. I don't think this will be one of them.
Burrito's pretty far behind.
They're cooked.
Burritos are cooked. They put him in the microwave, looking to try and defend here against CaptainTwig, who jumps in, uses the cage. No one gets caught in it this time, but Dzoni a little bit isolated away from the rest of his team, trying to come in on the back and catch out PrettyPriMe or Ataraxia, but Sibi gets blinked in and immediately takes a big chunk of damage. Sprint has to come out as well. Dzoni gets turned on the back line, and PrettyPriMe able to clean up Kespainify, no problem, and that was who you were looking for to come up big.
Yeah, that's what we were hoping for. Johnny's off the map, recalling back to base. The ultimate from FaraKrik misses, and that should be the game. That's pretty much going to be it. Obey will take a 2-0. Wasn't clean from them in Game 2. Game 1 was definitely so. Game 2, bit of a different story. Mistakes were made, though, and Obey will take the 2.
Obey continuing to sit atop the standings here for EU, or very close to it. This is their third game that they played, and they're 2-0'd all their sets. They have played some of the lower-end teams, but they've looked very clean throughout.
They have, and Obey will be quite happy with the performance overall just because they got what they needed to.
Yep.
No real standout plays from that other than, if you want to watch that game back, just follow Twig, and it's pretty much where all the action was all game long.
CaptainTwig having a good job of that game. One thing he was doing a lot, though, he was not letting Dzoni have that speed buff. It seemed like that was a personal mission that he was on, making sure to shut that down.
He's a jungler. Speed buff's more important.
He's got his own, Hindu.
2 is always better than 1.
2 is always better than 1. I agree with you there. Strong game from Obey Alliance, continuing to sit at the top of the standings, but we do have more coming at you. Just going to be a real quick break, and we'll be right back.